In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the mindset that you need to create a large network of CPAs and attorneys. We'll call it the mindset for a large COI network. And when we say large network, we talk about 12 to 15 individuals that will refer business to a financial advice professional, whether you're an insurance agent or a financial planner. Having a team of multiple attorneys, multiple CPAs, multiple folks in other industries that refer you constant business or consistent business, that's key. That's critical to the growth of your business. And it's like that for any business, but specifically we're going to talk about getting referrals and having more of an organic growth business that you can build outside of your financial planning business. All right, and so bear with me. Now, but when we talk about having this network, so why is it important to have a more than just one, right? Because there may only be one opportunity a year for a CPA, for example, to refer you business. Or, there may only be one chance that an attorney has to refer you a client. And a lot of times, because of compliance, when they have a client that needs you, they need somebody like you, they're going to give that client 3 choices, right? So your goal is to be on that list, right? If you're not on that list, then just wait till next year. Okay, so that's why we talk about having a large network, and mindset is so critical in this space, right? So the first thing that you must consider, or actually need to have when you grow this mindset, all right, is first a client service mentality. All right, it starts with serving the client well. It starts with the client. Now, what do I mean by serving the client well? So if you work with clients of all backgrounds, of any significant assets, typically they have a CPA, they're working with some kind of estate attorney, other professionals. If you're going to serve them well, right, aren't you going to want to know what these CPAs or attorneys, what they're saying to your client, right? Isn't it possible that the advice that you're giving might sound differently than what the CPA is suggesting to them? Especially if they're doing tax planning for the future. So just by serving the client well, you should want to know what that CPA is saying to your client. It baffles me how so many financial advisors, you ask them, well, do you know that CPA, or do you know your client's CPA? Or how many clients do you have, and how many of those clients work with a CPA? And they say 50. And all right, out of those 50, how many do you know? Maybe 3. So there's 47 other clients of yours that are talking to CPAs year in, year out, perhaps several times throughout a year, and you don't even know them, right? So it baffles me, right? So if you want to serve the client well, you're going to get to know that CPA that they're working with and learn the advice that they're sharing with their client, so y'all can just be on the same page. It just makes sense, right? So that is serving the client well. Also, on the other side, so you have this new client that comes on board, this $10 million client, and 3 months into the relationship, they say, hey, I'm looking for a good real estate attorney, or I'm looking for a good estate attorney or CPA that specializes in this, right? Wouldn't it make sense if you can actually refer that client immediately to somebody that you've already vetted, you have a relationship with, right? Somebody that perhaps may match the personalities, the sophistication level of that client, the complexity of their situation. Like, wouldn't it make sense if you already had that? I mean, just imagine, right? So someone asks you, you're a financial advisor, and a client asks you for a suggestion. Hey, I need a good accountant that specializes in real estate. Either A, you say, let me get back to you, right? Or B, you say, no problem, here's a couple that you may want to give a call to. Think about the 2 different scenarios and the perception of professionalism that you bring to the table if you come out with, hey, I've got a couple already that are good, and you can answer that, versus saying, I got to get back to you. And then you have to scramble around town trying to find new relationships. All right, so this all goes into serving client well, being prepared to give referrals, but then also being on the same page with the trusted advisors that your client is already working with. All right, so that's where the mindset begins, is having a client that you serve well. Okay, so once you have a client that you serve well, you're gonna, by default, number 2 is you're gonna meet more COIs. You're gonna meet more. So what that means is you're gonna have more meetings, right? And now this is a critical factor in getting referrals from CPAs, especially. You have to meet them. You won't just be able to send referrals an email from your office and then expect them to just reciprocate, right? You have to meet them. You have to take the time to put in the effort to build the connection, build the relationship. You have to meet them. So again, back to the example, if you have 50 clients that work with 50 different CPAs or CPAs and attorneys, right? Those are 50 people that you have a opportunity to meet with one-on-one. Now, maybe you may not meet all of them, but those are potentially 50 different meetings, 20-minute Zoom meetings perhaps, where you can at least establish the connection. All right, so the meeting is critical, getting in front of them. And then once you meet them, all right, here's where we now start to build connection. All right, once you meet more, all right, that'll bring you to number 3. You can communicate your value. Now, when you get asked the question, what do you do? What is your response? When someone asks, what do you do? How do you respond to that? This is your value proposition. And this has been or taught so many different ways. Your elevator pitch, give me your 5-second spiel, and kind of like you have to be on stage in a sense, and you kind of are, but let's just talk about it from a standpoint of thinking about the value that you deliver to the marketplace, right? I once heard a mentor of mine, Myron Golden, say, value proposition is simply, here's what you do for clients, and here's what I'll do for you. Or here's what I've done for X, here's what I can do for you. Just kind of really simple. That is where you can communicate your value. So now after you've met with the CPA, or you're in the meeting with the CPA and they say, hey, Chris, what do you do? Or tell me about your clients, who do you work with? You can now communicate clearly what you have done for clients, what makes you different, and then here's also what I can do for your potential clients, Mr. Attorney or Mrs. CPA, right? This is stage 3, is where you communicate your value. And once you do this, once you communicate your value, that brings you to number 4. We'll call it professional trust. Once you communicate your value effectively and you've made the connection, and now you're meeting with the CPA or the attorney and you communicate your value, this is your opportunity to go from just a salesperson to now a trusted professional, and specifically them trusting in your ability as a professional, trusting you to do a good job, right? That you won't jack up their clients if they send a client to you. Like I always say, there's a difference between personal trust and professional trust. And many financial advice professionals, they think they have trust with that accountant, but they really only have a certain level of personal relationship, or we'll call it personal trust, right? They haven't crossed the threshold of professionalism in the eyes of that advisor, right? That accountant, that attorney, that is required before they can get referrals. Right? So step 4 on this journey and the mindset to build a large network is where you build professional trust. And this, my friends, this is the key that leads to number 5, referral. This right here is when the referrals come. After professional trust has been built, you've taken the time to meet with that attorney, that CPA, that that whatever advisor it is, right? You've communicated your value and you built trust. That opens the door to referrals, and that's it right there. That is the door. Building professional trust. All right, and now we talk a lot about, there's many ways to build professional trust, right? We talk about that on our COI referral training course. You can get a link to that probably below here in this video, but this is the key. So if you want to get referrals from a CPA, so simply build professional trust with that CPA. Well, let's say, okay, Chris, I want to have five accountants and attorneys giving me referrals consistently. Build professional trust with 5 accountants and attorneys. That is the key that unlocks the door to referrals. Now, when the referral comes in, we're just going to start again. We're going to now go back to serving the client well. And I'm going to draw this in red, circle that in red. It goes back to the client. How can I serve you, client? How can I be of most value to you, right? Can I get in touch with your CPA, right? Are there any documents that I can send to your CPA or attorney's office, right? This is kind of where it starts. And again, we talk about the how and the strategies on how you prepare clients in our group, in our mastery group, also the COI referral training course, like I mentioned. But this right here is the mindset to build a large network. Look forward to seeing you next time. I hope this blesses you, and go out there and make it happen. We'll see you next time.